Well, today I'm going to be talking to you about Cairns Ironman and how when we make hard choices, we have an easy life. And when we make easy choices, we have a hard life. So I guess it's that time leading into the final week at Cairns where the nerves begin to bite. And often this triggers the mind's propensity to start making fantasies of reality. And this is where we need a high level of awareness, right? Where we decide to take the higher conscious ground between impulse and reaction. Because the alternative is not so good in terms of performance. So you've made this hard choice to line up for this race. Congratulations, because trust me, the hardest part is already behind you. So now it's not the time to cave in on yourself, thinking about what you haven't done. You've made a hard choice, and now is the time to get behind yourself. So I guess it's the time that we commit to making hard choices so that the race itself can be easier. By committing to working not by responding on impulse or to impulse, but to responding to the challenge in a way that is functionally in line with what you want to occur in this race, right? That's how you need to align your functioning. That's how we need to align our response. So the question is, how are you going to respond when it gets tough? It's a good question. It's a good thing to explore. Are you going to give in to the mind's impulse to resist and make it a story? Or are you going to deal with the challenge as it is right now? Because when you can't control what's happening in a race, we need to challenge ourselves to control the way we respond to what's happening. That's what you have to do. That's the only power that you have, is to be able to control the uncontrollable, because everything else is an illusion. Everything else is a story. Everything else is an idea. And if we depend on ego, it will resist what is, because it can't accept the version of events that are unfolding if it doesn't align with its self-definition. So we end up in the situation where ego writes checks that talent can't cash. That's what happens. So we can't let ego override our potential. And I'm 100% sure that an Ironman is about how we respond to the challenge mentally. And if you review your past races right now, you can write down a list. Write down how you responded to the races that challenge you the most. Be brutally honest with yourself while being gentle at the same time, so no story can invade, because we want truth, we want vulnerability, and we want authenticity here. Can you identify areas where you capitulate to impulse and descend into story and victimhood? Yes? Well, congrats. Welcome to the human race. Those races where we do this, though, haunt us, and they taunt us, don't they? And do you know why? Because deep in your subconscious, something knows you reacted instead of responding. And when we explore the details of our so-called bad races, this is what we learn. Oh yeah, I reacted instead of responding. Then I beat myself up because I'm ruminating on how I allowed myself to let the duplicity of my own mind run away in reaction and story instead of staying present with the challenge, instead of meeting it head on with a response that meets the demand of the present moment. And that's the only real anchor we have. It's the only reality we have. It's the only power that we have, is the response that meets the demand of the present moment. Forget what your mind thinks it wants to occur. It doesn't matter. It's not here now. So what response can you come up with? Well, where we can respond to a high level of awareness and focus, accepting where you are at right now and continuing to work with it. regardless of what it brings, maximizing the moment that you're actually in right now, instead of going into judgment about how it was supposed to look, because one's a reality and one's a mental projection. And we know that where the focus goes, the energy flows. Resist, and more resistance is what you'll get. Engage in process, and guess what? Engagement and presence in process is what you'll get. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And all we need to do is make ourselves aware of it. We don't need to change it. Now, let me ask you this question. How many times have you walked away frustrated with yourself, knowing you could have or should have done more? How many times are you going to blame it on the physical talent and the limitation, when in truth, it's rarely about that? It's about application. It's about presence. It's about focus. It's about where your energy goes. Your personal potential is bound up in the way that you respond. Regardless of how you physically go, at the end of the day, if you've been fully present and engaged with the challenge the whole time, there's no way you can walk away disappointed. There's no way you can walk away angry at yourself, because you'll have the peace of mind to know that you did all you could do with what you had to work with in that moment. That's the reality of it. You have the power to walk away satisfied from every race you do if the application is fully present. And no one can ask more of you than that, not even yourself. Best of luck.